talk about why the Enterprise wasn't called the Enterprise, wasn't called Star Trek Enterprise for the first 2 seasons, and I found this article fascinating.
Oh, yes, tell us more.
I'm going to tell you why. So, in a nutshell, because this is what a lot of these news sites like. They throw out headlines and they do a they're like we're saying, they're writers. They're very good at hooking you into a click, right?
Right.
So initially, I really thought this was gonna have some kind of like really like sort of like story, like who cares?
Right.
It was because it was named that, but they forgot it on the title or something stupid. But in reality, and here's the crazy part. What actually happened, what's wrong with you? Why would I show you the article? I mean, I guess I can show you the article. Here you go.
You can. I mean, people like to see it.
Yeah.
Probably better than looking at our faces.
So, I'm just going to explain. I'm not going to read it. Basically, what happened was Berman was making a new Star Trek show. The ratings for the previous 2 Star Trek shows, Deep Space Nine and Voyager, were waning. They weren't doing great. He was like, I want to make a new Star Trek show. I want to make sure that people know there's a difference, but wants it to have a connection to the shows. So, and I don't want people to be turned off by the word Star Trek immediately, which we thought like Marines were being turned off by Star Trek. So he goes, I'm going to call it Enterprise, because Enterprise is synonymous with Star Trek regardless, right? So we call it Enterprise. Going to be about the first Enterprise. Going to have all the same Star Trek-y stuff, but it's going to be called Enterprise. Now what happened was, and this is what he says. What happened was, after the first 2 seasons, they realized that the ratings weren't getting any better. In fact, they were even worse than DS9 and Voyager.
Right.
That he was like, oh, well, might as well add Star Trek back to it, which coincidentally, when the ratings went up.
Hey, because Star Trek is why people show up.
Right. Guys, I'm actually a little tired of this. I'm tired of studios thinking they really understand their audience, because I don't think they do. And let me explain.
Not even remotely close.
Huh?
Studios have no idea.
Yeah, they have no understanding of the base of people that are like keeping them in jobs.
No. It's proof today with what's going on today.
Right. Like they go, oh well, Voyager and Deep Space Nine, they were still successful. By the way, still very successful television shows. But they weren't getting the same numbers TNG was getting. They were losing viewers. So Star Trek must have a problem. Let's distance ourselves from Star Trek while making a Star Trek show. What do you think that does to the hardcore fans that have been propping you up for 30 years?
Yeah.
I mean, you need to lean into those fans. And by the way, it's not just Star Trek. Let's face it, Stargate did the same thing with Stargate Universe. Instead of making a 3rd show, that you need to take what works, take what everybody loves, and expand on it. Make it better. Amplify it, right? Add to it. Don't take what they love, completely change the format, the style, the character, the character arcs, all that, and make another show with a similar name to try to get more fans because Battlestar had more viewers. Let's make a Battlestar show and call it Star. That was the wrong way to do it. That alienated the fan base that you had already sold. Like, you already sold these people. They're sold on it. They're going to show up no matter what. Let's alienate those guys to make what? Let me ask you a question, Shane. What's better than one bird in your hand?
A whole bunch of them.
I'm sorry, 2 birds in the bush. 1 bird in your hand. Sorry, I messed with the quote. Well, you ever hear the quote?
I thought that's where you were going.
Sorry, if you ever hear the quote, 1 bird in your hand is better than 2 in the bush. What that represents is, I have 1 bird. There might be 2 in the bush. I would love to get those 2 birds, but it's a risk that I have to let go of 1 to use both hands to get the 2, right?
Fair, yep.
So, you have that. You have these fans. Grow these fans. Don't discard them. Hope that they stick around while you chase another group of fans. Expand your niche, man. I'm not even a movie executive. I'm a lowly YouTuber. And I understand that if you stay in your niche and you slowly grow that niche, it's going to get better for you. But these studios, their entire mentality is not like, let's make art that people love. It's more like, let's plagiarize art that people already love. And if this art is doing slightly better, we're going to transform our already plagiarized art into this other plagiarized art that's doing slightly better. And they just constantly sort of, I don't even want to evolve. It's not evolve, mutate their properties to try to get the most out of them, when in reality they're leaving fans behind. And that's what starts. I like Berman. Okay, I know some people don't. I liked Berman.
How can you not like Berman?
Maybe people don't like him as a person or whatever. I don't care about that. I didn't know the guy personally. I'm saying as a Star Trek writer, the guy gave me some of my best Star Trek of my childhood, right? And
he created the best Star Trek. Yes,
right. So I don't care about his personal life. That's nothing to do with Star Trek. What I do know about Star Trek is that the best Star Trek came from Berman, right? So if the best Star Trek came from Berman, even Berman thought that taking Star Trek away from the name Enterprise, I mean, that's the most valuable part of the name. Yeah. Like there are people, like I know this as someone who worked in the merch industry. People pay thousands and thousands of dollars a year to be able to put Star Trek on some toys, on some T-shirts. And when I say that, I'm talking about like it might cost $50,000 in license rights to put Star Trek on a T-shirt. That is how valuable that name is. So removing it from your show because other Star Trek shows, started to lose their viewer base toward the end of their run. Ugh.
It's just so typical because what they're doing, like you mentioned it before with Stargate. Stargate universe was created. Star Trek or Stargate SG-1 and Atlantis were successful. Instead of just tripling down and doing something like that and continuing, they're like, well, we need to make something new.
Yeah.
And the same thing happened with Star Trek. Voyager, Deep Space Nine, successful. Let's do something new. The good thing they did is they brought in Scott Bakula. So that's true. And the good thing is they had a great theme song.
And no, you're right about Bakula. First off, you're right about that entire cast. The entire cast of Star Trek Enterprise was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
The girl that plays T'Pol, Angela Black, I believe her name was something. I don't know. Okay, Black.
Yeah. Her last name is Black. Yeah.
Her last name is Black. But if you ever see her in other movies,
Jolene Black. I think it's Jolene Black.
You see her in other movies or TV shows and movies, they are so different. It requires me to go like, why does this person look vaguely familiar?
Oh yeah,
because she plays a different. She's not the same person, right?
No, she acted fantastically in Enterprise. She was a Vulcan through and through.
Yeah,
and she was in Stargate SG-1 as well.
She was.
I think so. Yeah, wasn't she in a later episode of Stargate SG-1?
She probably was. No, but the cast was good. The theme song, in my opinion, was them also trying to distance themselves from Star Trek. Because every show around that time had a popular pop song in the theme song.
Okay, I would say this: they weren't distancing themselves from Star Trek as much as they were trying to keep the Star Trek ball rolling by changing it so that it would be new audiences would find it different and refreshing. The problem is that never is successful. Please give me an instance in history where you've changed a franchise so much that everybody's like, yay, the franchise is different. I have yet to see a franchise go through some sort of transformation where you change the thing that works and into something different. I haven't seen. Can you think of anything?
I can't think of a single. It's not a single series that has worked on.
It doesn't make and so I don't know.
Wait. Lost in Space, perhaps?
No, Lost in Space. I mean, well, no. I mean, Lost in Space was Lost in Space from, decades ago. And
right,
then Lost
but they
in Space
did change it. Like the bad guy was like a chick now.
Well, that's not exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, let's say you've got this franchise that's cooking along, and all of a sudden you're like, well,
right.
so you're not talking about a
about a reboot. You're talking about continuation.
Yeah, I'm talking about keeping it going. Why change what works?
It's never worked.
Because you're tired. There's some sort of artistic loss to it, or something like that, or maybe part of it is you got to convince the networks. They're like, well, this isn't really working. We're losing our fan base. Like, well, check this out. We're going to do something totally different. The networks are like, yay, here's more money. Maybe that's what happens. Maybe these guys want to keep making something similar, but the networks are like, you know what I'm saying?
Maybe, but I don't see how the network that owns a super valuable name, Star Trek, is like, I think more like Berman wanted to take Star Trek off of it, and the network was like, well, Berman's given us 20 years of income. He knows what he's doing. I think that's different. I don't think he was like some like brand new showrunner coming into a new show. This is Berman, who literally had done the last 3 instances of Star Trek.
Right. Well, I guess Enterprise is the one show, if you're going to change the name, if you're going to take Star Trek off of it, pretty much the only thing you could do is do Enterprise, or maybe Picard, or maybe Kirk or Spock. I mean, maybe there's a few words you could use, but Enterprise is one of them.
Sure.
Thanks for watching. To see the full conversation, become a member of the Popcast family. Use the link in the description below, or go to our channel and click the join button. Select your tier, and we'll see you at the next show.